Well, good morning to you, and thank you for joining us. And we'll have some interactions, but in the meantime, I have here in the studio the Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram, Sam Nati George. And Sam George, good morning to you.
Good morning, Roland.
Should be a hectic weekend for you, hasn't it?
As usual.
Yeah, the week before, I've also seen you around.
Yeah, same grind. But let me just extend my condolences to the TV3 family. It was on Friday I had the sad news of Francis. Is it Francis, your camera guy?
Yes.
Very friendly gentleman, professional. May his soul rest in peace. And my condolences and that of the NDC to 3 General, Media General, and TV3 especially, and his family. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll also be joined by the Member of Parliament for Empire, so Davis Ansao Puku, who is known in MPP circles as OPK. But before we do that, we'll have some interaction with Professor John Gachi. He's the Dean with the University of Cape Coast Business School. But, well, we want to put some clarity, and I believe this should be the last time that we'll do this. There seems to be a lack of clarity on government's initial announcement about the policy on taking gold to go and have oil purchased. But because we've had some new introductions, per my perspective, as it is. Now, let's get what initially what's said as far as this is concerned. And based on that clarity, that has now been put to it. And Andre Japamesa is a Deputy Minister for Energy, as well as Member of Parliament for 2nd D.
He wants immediate results. It seems to me a lot of people are looking for quick fixes. Because in a scenario where your monthly consumption is in the region of some 350, 400,000, and you've done a test run of 40,000 metric tons, which is only about 10%, and indeed, prices at the pumps have come down at facilities that receive some of the product. Because Goil and some other outlets have actually reduced their prices. Yet, of course, because the volume that came in for the test run cannot satisfy the entirety of the needs of Ghana. But as we ramp up, the expectation is that then a wider scope of coverage can then be covered. The BDCs are going to participate to ensure that every commodity that comes into Ghana is at some price that is tolerable for the Ghanaian consumer. And that's the objective of His Excellency, the Vice President, and the Minister for Energy, and all the people who are working on this program to work to ensure that at least the Ghanaian consumer takes some benefit from this program. And that's exactly what is going to happen.
Was there something on Facebook? Would you take the opportunity to explain it?
Well, I was quoted, of course, typical headline. That's what sells, right? And so they attributed a story to me which suggested that I had contradicted what the Vice President had said at the New Year school. But if you look at the story itself, the body of the story, the quote that they quote me does not support the headline. Because what I said, that the Gold for Oil program was running 2 streams. Because it was important for us to expand the scope of supplies that we could potentially have, and not limit ourselves to only people who are interested in a direct barter. We needed to create an avenue so that other suppliers who then want cash could also benefit from the program. So what it is that Bank of Ghana aggregates the...
Investors' appetite for Ghana's petroleum industry has waned significantly since the last petroleum agreement was awarded to ExxonMobil, who eventually exited for undisclosed reasons. Ghana launched its first licensing round in 2018, which many thought was the beginning of a transparent licensing regime. However, the licensing process showed significant flaws, which have been largely acknowledged by the Ministry of Energy. After initiating the competitive bidding process, the government set a parallel direct negotiation process which discouraged participation in the competitive process. However, 3 companies stayed with the process, and 2 blocks were won by ENI and First EMP Limited.
And Dr. Steve Mantia leads the coalition of CSO who are raising issues about the transparency of this gold for oil deal. But it also puts into perspective, Sam George, about what the initial announcement was. And I know that over the last 4 days, you've been on the subject. What did you understand by what the Vice President first announced by way of this policy in terms of how it was supposed to have been implemented?
Well, a very good morning to our viewers again, and to yourself, and to the soon, I don't want to say late OPK, but soon to be here OPK. The point is very clear. It's not just what I understand, it's what Ghanaians understood Dr. Bawumia to have been saying. I have been on record to say that this whole called butter deal that is being touted as the nicest thing to have happened to Ghana since Ben's bread is a lazy approach at solving a problem that they themselves have created. It's tantamount to sending us back to the age of the Flintstones, where people exchange fish for onions, you know. But in every butter deal, one person always leaves off worse, because there is no common commodities trading platform that puts value on one commodity and has the same metric measure for the other commodity. So at every point in time, one person who is battering would always be at a disadvantage, because the one who has the luxury of saying, I can do this or not do this, would always be the one to determine what the metrics are for exchange. Now, on the score of that, what Dr. Bawumia said, and this was sometime in December, I think 21st or 22nd of December 2022, which was widely reported, was that they had struck a deal that was going to see Ghana receive cheaper oil for gold from Ghana. In fact, the question is it actually oil we're getting or finished product? Again, technically, those are two different things. When you talk about oil on the international market, you're talking about crude. But what's coming in is not crude. What's coming in is finished products. And so the question here is, what did Dr. Bawumia promise us? And I even raise a more fundamental question. Why have we gotten to this stage where we're having to do barter trade? Where we're having to trade like the Flintstones? Okay. It's simply because Dr. Bawumia, as head of the economic management team, has been abysmal and woeful and catastrophic in the management of our economy, that even the incompetent, as they called him, John Mahama, could have his central bank raise letters of credit for BDCs to bring in product. And today, the one who is supposed to have been competent, Nana Danko Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, have been unable to manage the economy so poorly that today the Bank of Ghana is not in a position to raise letters of credit. And so now we have to resort to trading in gold for oil or gold for fuel. Now the question here is this. Again, this whole discussion with Mesa on whether it was paid for with gold was last week.
Yes.
A conversation I had with him on a sister TV station.
Certainly.
Where I kept asking, tell me exactly how many ounces of gold were traded. After prodding him for a while, he said, no, we didn't pay for it with gold. We paid for it with cash. Hello? That's not what you said to us. You said you were going to buy gold using PMMC to get us oil or fuel products. Now, how are you paying for with cash? Then Bobo comes up with a very interesting idea, and it's very symptomatic of the MPP. When you push them hard for the truth, then they resort to all kinds of shenanigans. Now he tells us that the gold for oil deal has a double track, like the way they messed up our educational system. Okay, what's the double track? In one track, we're going to have people pay with cash for the oil. In another track, we'll exchange gold bars. If you're paying for cash with the oils, I know what the BDCs do. Why is the government getting involved in the job of the BDCs anyway? You understand me? Now, this particular first tranche that came in, 40,000 metric tons. About 41,000 metric tons.
And we're told that it's mainly diesel, by the way.
Yeah. Now the question is, how did we pay for it? We were told it was paid for with cash. That's not what we were told. Now the question is, who is the intermediary that took gold bars and gave the supplier? We're hearing all kinds of things. We're hearing of a company called Lethasco. Now, for me, that immediately raises serious bells. who is the principal agent for Letasco in Ghana? Is he a relative of the president?
Is it that you're getting in the rumor mill based on your own insight?
I'm telling you for a fact that Letasco's agent in Ghana is a relative of the president. Is a relative of President Akufo-Addo, the blood relative of President Akufo-Addo.
That speaks of clear conflict of interest issues.
So you're taking the job from the BDCs and giving it to President Akufo-Addo's family, because, I mean, that's what this is about. It's about consolidating wealth in one family. Because if the Bank of Ghana is going to be paying with cash for fuel, using a company that is represented by a family member of the president, then, I mean, why are you taking the job away from the BDCs? And for me, that goes to tell you the quagmire we find ourselves. In fact, 3 days ago, or was it 3 or 4 days ago, the Bank of Ghana appears before the Public Accounts Committee that I serve on. And I asked a public interest question, direct to my very good friend, Dr. Maxwell.
And I did watch that
yes.
clip.
And there again, the Bank of Ghana, which is supposed to be the one getting the gold through PMMC, funding the purchase of the gold.
The principal agents trying to do the
moving on the gold. When I asked them, how much did we pay? They said the Bank of Ghana is unaware. So tell me what's going on. Who is aware of anything? This reminds me of the
Sputnik V.
The Sputnik V, where there was a middleman. Nobody seemed to know what had happened. Some people just sat in the office of the president and signed a deal and called Ajiman Menu, go and implement it. It reminds me of the COVID testing at the airport, where the Minister for Transport knew nothing about it, Minister for Health knew nothing about it. I mean, what kind of extreme nepotistic government are we running? They're not just incompetent, they're not just inefficient at what they do, but the only thing they're efficient at is ripping off the public purse.
There's a principal question, and that question firstly also relates to if now the policy in its implementation is supposed to be one part gold being traded for oil and cash being traded for oil, it also means that the cash that was traded the first time, there should be some inquisitorial questions on what type of cash was it.
Definitely, and Roland, there's no need...
And then how that also feeds into the objective of making sure that the demand for forex or the US dollar is not made within the local market.
Roland, absolutely. I mean, and there's no question of doubt in my mind about that. That they didn't pay for Letasco wasn't paid in Ghana cedis or Japanese yen. They were paid in US dollars.
Certainly has to be the US dollar.
US dollars is what they were paid in. Now the question we ask ourselves is why is the Bank of Ghana moving money to Letasco, a company where the president's family member has an interest in? Why are we giving them that money? The BDCs always come to the Bank of Ghana and buy at an auction US dollars. You say you don't have the US dollars. You say that you have done a gold acquisition process or program, and now you have the gold bars. So the question we're asking ourselves is, how was Letasco paid in dollars? Why were they paid in dollars? At what exchange rate? At what price was the gold bars sold to them? Since when? I mean, and this intermediary that is taking the gold bars and exchanging it, it's completely different from what we were told. First, it's again a fact that the oil that was sold to Ghana, or the fuel that was sold to Ghana, was not cheaper. It was sold at a premium. It wasn't cheaper than the world market price. So one, we're not getting cheaper fuel. Two, gold bars were bought. And you see, with the deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, and I'm happy OPK is also a member of the Public Accounts Committee, when I ask the questions, PMMC is buying the gold bars. And this again tells you where the problem is. The Bank of Ghana claims that the prices of fuel, or the government is claiming, will come down because they're using an exchange rate, indicative exchange rate of 11.5 to do the transaction. But the gold bar you are buying, that you are exchanging, PMMC is buying at 13. So if you are buying at 13 and then you are now selling at 11.5, automatically there is a loss of 1.5 per ounce, or 1.5 per dollar, actually. The question we ask ourselves is, I mean, who is going to show that loss of 1 cedi or almost 2 cedis that accrues from the differential in the price at which PMMC is buying the gold and then at which the Bank of Ghana is trading? Again, let's be very clear. From time immemorial, the Bank of Ghana has insisted that everyone who is a small-scale miner, all their gold proceeds come through the Bank of Ghana. So it's not as though this purchase program is bringing new gold revenues to the Bank of Ghana or new dollar revenues to the Bank of Ghana.
It is not.
Absolutely not. Because all the small-scale miners, the law as it stands now, which has always been in practice, is that when you sell your gold internationally, all the monies must be repatriated back to Ghana, and it must come through, the forex must come through the Bank of Ghana, and you are given the cedi value. For the foreign, the large scale or the big boys, large scale miners like the Anglo Golds and all, they're giving a percentage that they can retain outside. And then there's what they bring in here. So tell me, what is the new revenue streams, new dollar revenue streams that anyone is getting? I mean, look, the government is clearly in 6s and 9s. Baumia has messed up the economy as head of the economic management team. I mean, the cedi is in free fall. We have, because look, Roland, for me, the bottom line of what we do, or everything that we're having a conversation about, is why are we here? My alma mater, and let me just say, the London School of Economics has a motto. The motto of the school is to know the cause of things. Rerum cognosceris causa. To know the cause of things. And so I ask myself, why are we here? What is the cause of this? It's simply because our economy is in shambles, our currency is in free fall, our currency is currently junk status. It's the second worst currency in the world under the management of Akufo-Addo and Baumia. That's why we are where we are. The biggest, look, if you want to see cheap oil, you don't need to trade gold. You just need to have government take off the taxes, parts, just a part. Because the cost of fuel, 40% of that cost is taxes, government taxes. It's nothing else. 40% of the cost you pay at the fuel pump is taxes. And then the next big item there is the depreciation of the cedi. So long as the cedi keeps depreciating, the cedi and against the dollar, you're going to keep having fuel prices increase at the pump. Case closed.
And we do have the Member of Parliament for Impriso here. And he happens also to be a member of that committee. So that even puts the matters into perspective. And, well, Davis Opoku, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, when the Vice President made that initial announcement, he was very clear.
Yes.
Good for oil. Now, we're being told that it's a two-pronged transactional approach, that it's one part cash, one part gold. That's pure deceit to the ordinary Ghanaian public or member.
Well, let me say a very good morning to our viewers and also to my colleague Sam George, to your good self. I really do not think there's been some deceit in here. I mean,
you don't think so?
No.
Why not?
First of all, I mean, this whole arrangement, this gold for oil arrangement, is intended for some purpose. One is to free up our foreign exchange resources. You know that there's been a lot of pressure on our forex. I mean, largely because virtually everybody relies on the Bank of Ghana to, I mean, anybody who would want to import any product into our country would rely on the Bank of Ghana for forex. So this gold for oil program, one, is to free up the foreign exchange resources to meet the petroleum import of the country. And for me, it's one idea that we all must laud the government for in its implementation.
An idea now we're being told now is part cash, part gold.
First of all, the program has just started. What I understand is that just 10% of what we utilize as a country went through this program. That's about some $40 million. So, I mean,
you mean the quantum that came in?
We are not the entire petroleum product that are coming into the country is not going through this good for oil program. I mean, we have just started. 10% of it is what is being implemented, And hopefully, I mean, when the infrastructure is put in place, the people of this country will see the need for it. So please, let us not brush it aside. Let us not create the impression that the Vice President has deceived Ghanaians. No, that is not the case. The program has just started. There's been a lot of explanation from the National Petroleum Authority. There's been a lot of explanation from both.
I've seen their release. But,
Yes.
but Mr. Ansaupoku,
Yes.
there's a critical intent for which the Vice President made that announcement.
Yes.
That the demands for Forex, and we're talking about the main currency or legal tender for transactions,
Yeah.
which have affected the various sectors of our economy, being the US dollar. In order to reduce that demand, there's supposed to be bulk use of gold through the Bank of Ghana. Of course,
Yeah.
there'll be an intermediary through the PMMC Bank of Ghana, and then that will be used for getting on the reverse, or talking about gold for oil. Now, the oil comes, and there is an explanation by a Deputy Minister of Energy who is saying that the one that came, or that consignment of 41,000 metric tons, was made in cash. What type of cash?
Well, you see,
That defeats the whole objective.
There are two sides to this whole thing. One, if someone says gold for oil, one is good. It could be the barter channel, where suppliers who are willing to take gold, for oil, would make it known to the MPA or to BOST, whoever is in charge.
Did the Vice President know this at the time he was making the announcement?
Well, it did. I'm saying that it's an elaborate program.
But he didn't tell us that.
So what you need to appreciate is that this is an elaborate program. We have just started the program, and so if you want to latch on your misunderstanding to create the impression that the Vice President deceived Ghanaians, then I think it's quite an unfortunate thing to do. And I'm explaining to you that there are two sides. There's a broker channel and there's the barter channel. The barter is when the suppliers are willing to take our gold and say that, yes, I can supply you in return for gold. And the aim of it, and I've explained, is to ease the pressure on our forex. So there's nothing special. I mean, it's not the case that if oil is being sold for 2 cedis on the international market, we are going to get it for 1 cedi.
Well, nobody did say that, Mr. Ansaupoku. And to be fair to the Vice President, to you as well,
Yes.
the announcement that was made was to make sure that in the course of that transaction, ultimately, even the third party that is going to be the intermediary to make sure we go negotiate for oil will be giving gold, or somehow will transact gold into cash and go and buy.
That is the second approach. I mean, aside the barter trade.
Yes, of course.
We are looking at the broker deal. I mean, where the Bank of Ghana sells gold to a broker, and we take the money and go and buy the fuel on the international market. And I've told you that, I mean, this whole thing, let's not be too, get it right. The intended purpose is to reduce or to lessen the pressure on our forex. That is the intended purpose. So the program has just started. People can play mischief about it. We know how our colleagues played mischief with the oil fine when President Kufuor found oil. They told the entire trade is a Tagwe, and all of that. We know them. So they would try and poo-poo through this.
Nobody is poo-pooing. They are key experts who are raising questions. That is the initial objective of the program as announced by the Vice President. It's not the same that has now, in part, been transacted.
But what is happening? I mean, the fact that there were
41,000 metric tons or 40,000 metric tons of oil has come in, and we're told that it's now cash.
I'm telling you, we are only buying 10% of our demand.
I understand.
Yes. So certainly you would be using money to buy oil on the international market. So if somebody comes to tell you that we've gotten some supplies,
okay,
and that
we'll play the sound of the Vice President. Perhaps maybe when the Vice President made the announcement, all of us didn't get him right. And then when we get the Vice President to get that insert. Okay, so now let's get the Vice President giving us the initial announcement. He said that this whole policy is out of the textbooks. It's not something that is taught in school. So It's quite novel and innovative, but very much precise on the import or objective of this. Listen to the Vice President.
Is to buy oil. Why don't we rather reach an agreement to exchange our gold for oil and then sell the oil in cedis, then use the cedis to buy more gold, use that gold to pay for oil, sell the oil in cedis, and then you don't need to look for scarce foreign exchange to buy oil, which always leads to a depreciation in the currency. So with this idea, we said, let's do something that the textbooks don't teach you. Let's do something that is out of the box. And this is why we said gold for oil. And we quickly looked at this and we negotiated with the suppliers of oil who were very, very excited and happy to receive gold in payment.
Ghana recently.
So unless maybe perhaps my English construction and also ingestion or understanding is not right. Davis Ansopoko.
That's why
I've known you for a very long time. How many years have I known you? I think the greater course of my career.
Yes.
I think the English expression by the Vice President clearly says that we're going to have suppliers who are going to take... So this is gold. We're going to take it for oil. It's a very simple transaction, very simple.
Relax.
Now you are saying that it's a two-pronged approach.
Yes.
So explain this to me, unless maybe all of us didn't understand what the Vice President was saying.
So what the Vice President said is the barter deal where suppliers are willing to take our gold and supply us with oil. Then there's the other bit that has to do with the broker, which we are being told that...
He didn't say that in there.
No, but of course, I mean, you don't expect the Vice President on such a platform to give you an elaborate explanation of the entire
Are you serious about what you're saying?
I'm
He's
very
making
serious.
a major policy statement for which he clarifies that it is out of the textbook.
Roland, that is why you have the Ministry of Energy, have the Ministry of Finance, your Bank of Ghana, trying to explain to you, they are trying to give you more details into this program.
And the Vice President couldn't give the general public when he was making the first announcement of a major policy,
he just showed,
which was out of the textbook.
You just showed a 1 minute clip, How do you expect the Vice President to explain to you this entire elaborate program in just 1 minute?
He had a whole period to make that announcement. This clarification that you are giving and other government communicators are giving didn't come out in that speech.
But how do you expect the Vice President to as it were, I mean, expatiate on the entire policy? It's not possible. That is why we have ministries. That is why the Ministry of Energy is doing that now. And they're explaining to you that there are two approaches. One is the barter deal where the Vice President touched on. The fact that suppliers are willing to take our oil for gold. And the other bit is the broker deal.
He didn't say that. That second part, he didn't say that.
Well, I'm explaining to you as a government communicator because I have spoken to agents at the Ministry of Energy. I've spoken to people from the MPA. I've engaged people from BOST. And I'm telling you that this is what the program is about. And I'm sure that when the Vice President gets the opportunity to explain further, he's going to do that. You don't expect him to within a minute or two, tell you everything that this program entails.
Okay. Sam George, I don't know whether maybe perhaps all of us might have misheard the Vice President or misconstrued what he intended. It looks like OPK here has put some perspective to the issues. The Vice President apparently made an announcement, and all of you, including you members of Parliament, those in academia, all the economics and as well as those who even work within the petroleum sector, seem to have misconstrued what the Vice President intended. You're clearly on the wrong.
You see, it's interesting. OPK has come. He's opened his speaking points that have been prepared for him and all the NB communicators.
Same as
his notes. I'm writing. His notes.
I mean,
his
same
notes.
as
I'm writing. It's my handwritten notes. My handwritten notes. And you see, the speaking points were designed even before the thing arrived, when they all believed what the Vice President said. And so OPK has come here and has just regurgitated the same things that they were told in December. The reality of the day today, he can't address because he's in 6s and 9s.
Why?
And I can appreciate it because, I mean, when you have a bad product, there's nothing you can do about it. If the thing is smelling, it is smelling. No matter the amount of perfume you spray on it, this is stinking. Look, you've played the tape of the vice president. The vice president didn't speak in Dagbani that me and him will say we don't understand. He spoke in English. OPK understands English very well. The vice president was clear that they had gotten suppliers, they had secured suppliers who were willing and happy to exchange oil for gold. So if you are going to do a test run, is it not those suppliers you do the test run with?
And exchange gold for oil.
Absolutely.
Now we're told that there's an exchange of cash.
Is cash for oil. OPK in his submission, when he moved away from his speaking point and was speaking, this is what he said. The gold for oil is to free up our foreign reserves. You said that here.
It's to free up the pressure on our forex.
Ah, fantastic. Thank you. So that's what you said, right?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Now, the money that was paid to Letasco, $40 million.
Mm-hmm.
Was it CDs? Was it CDs you paid them or dollars?
That's why I'm saying that.
No. I beg you. Don't explain.
Well, it's dollars.
It's dollars.
I'll explain to you how that
so
money.
when you paid,
I get where the misunderstanding is coming from.
When you paid Letasco $40 million,
yes.
Has it freed up pressure on our forex, or our forex now is Ghana
That's a big
cedis?
question.
You understand me? The second point, OPK again when speaking said, "Oh, this gold for oil is not going to give us cheaper oil because we are not going to be buying the thing is not sold at 2 cedis or $2 and we'll go and buy at $1." He said that here. So then what did Baumia mean when he said we'll get cheaper oil? If we are not buying, if we are not getting it at a cheaper premium, how then are we getting it cheaper? Well, that explains why the last pricing window, the prices went up. He keeps on harping. It's only 10%. It's only 10%. You are intending to bring in at a certain point in time, you say almost 350,000 metric tons, which will make up about 92% of our need. The question is, are you killing the BDCs? One.
We'll come to that.
You understand me? Two, if you are paying $350 million, you intend to be paying $350 million. The question we are asking you, look, the $400 million is not yearly consumption. It is monthly consumption. Does the Bank of Ghana have enough gold to sell on a monthly basis? Even if you do 200 million, half. Do you have enough gold to sell worth 200 million every month? It means in a year, 2.4 billion. That is 2.4 billion.
And why is the gold even going to come from?
You're looking at almost 85% of what you're asking the IMF for in over 3 years. In 1 year, does your Bank of Ghana have enough gold to do that even if you were doing half? I mean, look, my guy, let's call a spade a spade. I get it. I've been here before.
I clearly understand your
I've been here before where you are faced with a difficult government policy, a difficult government policy that has backfired. You've been misled. Let's have integrity and say, look, there's a problem here. My people have to come back. But to come and sit here and try and tell us that we don't understand what the vice president said and it was 1 minute. Abba.
George.
When you played a Japan Messer's explanation, was it that also not 1 minute?
George.
Now,
let me.
Why you do that explanation? Please add this to my question. There is now a certain perception out there within the CSO community who have clearly expressed their concern about how this deal is non-transparent. That also seems to flout a certain structure or norm we have about deregulation, where the BDCs are expected to play key roles. And then also not giving us facts about who the intermediaries are. And ultimately, how the transaction processes are even within the realm of the laws that we have, whether it has to come to Parliament or not even come to Parliament. You're a key member of Parliament and you're defending this. Do you think that in any way leads to a certain misunderstanding within the public space and how you need to explain that?
Well, it has not. We know that per regulation, people who deal in gold cannot just, export this gold into to whoever they want to. They need to pass through the PMMC and all of that. Now, government is saying that I have demand for your gold. So instead of exporting this gold to your international buyers or whatever, now the Bank of Ghana will be doing, will be buying on behalf of the country.
No, that one has been explained.
Yes,
OPK.
and that is why. So if George says that the Bank of Ghana do not have the reserve to buy the gold on a monthly basis,
does the Bank of Ghana have? Looking at the quantums that come.
I'm saying that. That is why the Bank of Ghana will now be buying the gold that hitherto would have been exported.
From where?
Well, don't people export?
Well, we know the quantities of gold that we tend to get and being sold or exported out of the country.
Don't people export gold on a daily basis in this country?
Yeah, sure.
So if the government says that now I want to buy your gold, what is so wrong with it? If indeed government is willing to pay them and they would appreciate, the need for government to buy their products, what is so wrong with it? Two, this attempt by some judge to create the impression that the 40 million was paid in cash. I have explained to you that there are two approaches to this thing.
And the vice president didn't announce that initially.
Forget, I'm here explaining to you.
Am I elaborating what the vice president said? An impression, or was he paid for in cash?
It was not paid for in cash.
Now what was that?
Are you disputing the minister?
Listen to me. We sold our gold to a broker. We sold our gold to the broker. And the proceeds that came out of it, that is what was used to purchase for the oil. And I've told you that this whole aim is to lessen the pressure on our forex.
Where's the broker? Where is it based?
Well, I don't have details of the broker.
You need to know that.
Well, I don't have details.
Because the broker...
How do you just ask me?
But you are the one here saying there's a broker.
How do you just ask me on TV to tell you? Do I work at the Ministry of Energy?
But do you work? Do I work at the Ministry of Energy? Do you work at the Bank of Ghana when you're talking about this?
Ministry of Energy?
I mean, this argument and excuse is very lame.
What do you mean by that?
No, it is.
Listen.
But you've been here speaking on the Bank of Ghana. Do you work at the Bank of Ghana? Do you work at the Bank of Ghana?
Do you work at the Bank of Ghana? I don't.
At the Ministry of
Energy. I'm informed by the Bank of Ghana. And I'm speaking on authority.
And when they informed you, they didn't tell you who the broker was.
No, I didn't ask
who the broker was. It was smart enough to ask them who the broker was.
George, I didn't ask who the broker was.
David, listen to me.
I'm Davis.
I've known you for a very long time, since your fact days. And you and I have had some great discussions over the period. Now, there's a clear explanation in that announcement, which says that there's going to be one gold that is going to be sent through an intermediary in exchange for oil.
Yes.
Now we have a scenario where we have a consignment that apparently was paid with cash through an intermediary. And I'm asking you, that intermediary that did the payment with cash, where is that intermediary based? Where did it mop up that cash? Is it locally or internationally? And through the Bank of Ghana, for which we now have oil inshore or in country. Where is that intermediary?
Well, I mean...
You don't know?
I don't know. I don't have details of the intermediary.
Don't you think that we need explanations?
If you need explanations, it's important that you demand for it.
OPK, if you were in opposition...
Well, I have told you...
If you were in opposition, do you think this deal and this transaction you would have had difficulty with it?
That what?
The way the transaction has been undertaken.
That I would have had difficulty. I mean, if a program has come to lessen pressure on our forex, I will be excited about it.
No, I think that we're all excited that we have oil. What we are not excited about is the lack of explanation.
It's shredded in some secrecy.
Nobody has said that.
But you are saying that...
I haven't mentioned secrecy.
But what did you say?
I asked you a question.
That what?
That intermediary, where did they mop up the cash? And what sort of cash was it through the Bank of Ghana?
I'm saying
and then is it through our reserves that they were paid? That's another explanation. Then you tell us that.
I'm saying that. I'm saying that.
Please.
The government of Ghana, through the Bank of Ghana, sold this gold to a broker.
Yes,
then
I understand that.
Out of the proceeds that we went to purchase the 40 million worth of oil.
Proceeds from where?
The sale of the gold.
Where did they sell the gold?
Well, I can't give you details because I don't work at the Bank of Ghana.
So the cash that was used, where did we get the cash? Is it from our reserves internationally or locally? Where did we mop up?
I am saying that it is from the sale of the gold.
Okay. OPK, where you because of your interaction over the period, and the player that you are within the political space as well as the entrepreneurial space, knows that gold usually is transacted in dollars, even in Ghana.
Yes.
Okay. So,
nobody has disputed that.
Okay.
Nobody has.
So can we draw a conclusion that purchase of gold even locally involves dollar transactions?
Agreed.
Okay. Does that also affect demand or supply of dollars locally?
Well, it should, but you see, that's why I've told you that in all of these difficulties that we find ourselves, we've seen that the over-reliance on forex.
You haven't answered my question.
Oh, I'm answering your question.
I'm asking you that.
I'm just.
I should relax. Okay.
Relax. The over-reliance on forex is one that is doing us no good. I mean, virtually everything. If people want to go and buy sugar, they rely on forex. People want to go and buy rice, they rely on forex. Oil trading is one area that relies heavily on forex. That puts a lot of pressure on the Bank of Ghana and also affects us as a people.
That we know.
Yes. So if government, in an attempt to lessen the pressure on our system, decides that, okay, so we have gold. Gold is an international commodity. I mean, virtually everybody wants to buy gold and all of that. So now, instead of mobilizing or looking for dollars in our system, let us now trade our gold for the oil.
OPK, you are stammering. Let me. OPK, you haven't answered my question.
Why have I not
and don't put me in a tight corner. It's not fair. You are my friend.
Yes.
So the question is, for all the experiences that you have with people who deal with gold, the gold that is gotten from the fields that are mined, we get solid gold in ounces. Are they transacted in US terms before they get out of Ghana? Whether it's through the Bank of Ghana or the PMMC? Is it in dollars?
It should be in dollars.
Okay. So, so does that affect the demand or supply of gold then? Or dollars?
Does that affect what?
Transacting in dollars for gold. Does that affect the demand or supply of dollars?
But if somebody is coming to buy your gold for dollars through the Bank of Ghana, what is so wrong with it?
I know.
Yes. I have gold. I have gold as a country. I have a gold as a country. Now
and you are transacting in dollars.
No, but I'm selling to a broker.
Yes, I understand.
I'm selling my gold to a broker.
I understand.
Yes.
The entities that are selling, don't they sell in dollars?
Which entities?
The entities that are buying, whether through the PMMC or the Bank of Ghana.
But if the Bank of Ghana is selling this gold, are they selling it to the local market?
Where do they sell it?
Of course. I mean, they are not going to sell it on the local market.
And the purchases.
Do you sell gold in Ghana? No, I'm asking you a question. If
is gold not sold in Ghana? Is gold not sold in Ghana?
All these gold miners, the gold that they get, is it for our local market?
Is it not for international market?
Yes. So if you go and sell the gold, what comes out of it?
You've even put my question into perspective.
Yes.
So those transactions, are they not in dollars?
They're in dollars.
Okay.
And if you are getting dollars, out of a purchase, is it a wrong thing to do?
And I'm saying that doesn't it affect the demand for the forex locally?
It is not a demand, no. Because now government has gone to sell a product, gotten dollars, and is using that to purchase the oil.
Roland, if I could help here. You see, OPK, I think you made a fundamental error in answering the question. When PMMC buys the gold, they don't pay in dollars.
Yeah, sure.
They pay in cedis.
Yes.
So that's
the onward forward.
It's the onward one, because OPK responded and said yes, PMMC is buying and paying locally in dollars.
No. He said the Bank of Ghana.
When they buy from the small scale miners locally, they pay them in cedis.
Yes, sure.
They don't pay them in dollars.
Sure.
Now, then they try and sell in dollars. But you see, the point you are making, Roland, is the fact that if you allow the small scale miners to export their gold, they earn, which is what used to happen before this so-called deal. When they sell on the international market, they receive dollars. But the law says that that dollars must hit their account through the Bank of Ghana. It comes to the Bank of Ghana. The Bank of Ghana gets the dollars, and then the Bank of Ghana pays them cedis.
It even shows up.
Our reserves. Now, if you are buying the gold from them directly here and paying cedis, then that inflow of forex that used to come to the Bank of Ghana is actually not happening again. The counter-move argument to that will be that, well, when the Bank of Ghana gets that gold, they now go and sell to the intermediary and still get the dollars from there.
Yeah.
If they were getting the dollars from the intermediary and keeping the dollars in the vault of the Bank of Ghana, I would then appreciate that that is going to take away pressure from our forex reserve, on foreign reserve, because then it means that that is forex that they are stockpiling. But when they sell, and then onward move whatever proceeds of dollars they get to now go and pay cash for the fuel that is coming, how is that giving us any reserves? One. Two, the intermediary is not doing this for free. Let's break this down for our viewers. OPK is Bank of Ghana. I'm a small scale miner. You are an intermediary, or I'm a BDC. If I came to the Bank of Ghana, OPK, and asked him at auction to buy dollar, he will sell dollar to me and I'll go and buy my crude. Now, he has decided that he won't sell dollar to me. He's taking my gold and then giving to you, Roland. Now the question is, let's bear in mind that if a gold trader had sold $100 million worth of gold, $100 million worth of gold, and that went out on the market, what will come to OPK as Bank of Ghana is $100 million. Now, when you take that same $100 million and pass it through an intermediary, what will come to the Bank of Ghana is not $100 million. Because the intermediary is not Santa Claus. The intermediary is going to take a fee for the transaction. So it means that to get that $100 million, you have to sell more gold than you previously would have. So those are all the issues we are raising.
It is not true. It is not true.
Right. So the intermediary is not charging anything.
The intermediary is going to resell the gold.
No. So they are not charging.
Is he not going to resell the gold?
Wait. Are you saying
is the intermediary not in business?
Are you fantastic?
Is the broker not in business?
So are they going to sell the gold for the Bank of Ghana without a fee?
He's telling you that, of course,
I have a shop in the price.
There's a transaction.
I go to a currency to go. Yes, of course.
No, so you want to know what transactional cost
No. So wait. Let's be clear. Because he's saying that what I'm saying is wrong. But if you are saying what he's saying is what he's saying, then he's agreeing with me.
I'm not agreeing with you. I'm only saying that
he's saying that
somebody buying to resell.
No,
somebody buying to resell.
Wait,
so wrong with that?
No. Wait.
Sam Judge Land, I have a question for you.
Wait, the intermediary is not on their own looking for gold to buy.
All right.
The intermediary is not looking for gold to buy. The intermediary is sitting there. The Bank of Ghana is the one reaching out to the intermediary and saying, please help me go and buy oil and pay for it, and I will give you gold. The intermediary is not.
No.
Please.
You don't understand.
Clearly,
you don't understand.
Listen,
clearly, you lack appreciation of this entire gold for oil deal. You lack appreciation.
The deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, maybe that time you hadn't come to the committee meeting, when I asked him the public interest question on Thursday, or was it Friday, was very clear. That look, the intermediary does it at a fee. The intermediary is not doing it for free, because when the government of Ghana says to the intermediary,
but the intermediary is in business. That's what he's saying.
Yes, no, but he's saying the intermediary is in business but not charging the Bank of Ghana. Does it make sense?
Said that.
That's what he's saying. Because I am saying.
The intermediary is
I am saying that the intermediary who is taking the let me make this point. The intermediary who is taking the gold and trading it, is not doing it for free for the government of Ghana.
No, but I'm telling you that
the intermediary is going to charge. The intermediary is definitely charging the Bank of Ghana for the services that they are offering.
No, but you see, George,
because if they were not, George, if there was no cost, if what the intermediary was doing did not come at a premium to the state, then the state as well could easily take its own gold and go and sell the gold. But the Bank of Ghana has been selling gold.
I mean, this inferior appreciation of how we do business.
You call our common logic inferior.
I'm telling you.
When you are in 6s and 9s, you've gone round and round. When they ask you a question, you are unable to answer.
Where?
All the questions he's asked you, you've been unable to answer. All the questions. When they ask you, then you say you don't work at the Bank of Ghana.
How much? If you ask me, if you want to know the broker, how do I give you the name of a broker?
OPK. So you know when we're talking right.
What if the government of Ghana is not even dealing with one broker?
Please,
in this particular deal, it is Letasco. We all know Letasco. Who is Letasco? Who is Letasco's agent in Ghana?
OPK.
I'm listening.
At what point in time, from the time that the vice president made the announcement, did a decision come about or was made that the transaction would now be in twofold, cash and gold?
Well, I've told you that. The announcement by the the vice president of this country was on a platform that he had been invited to a program. Now, government through its ministry has given you an elaborate program.
Understand that. I'm saying that the time that the vice president made that announcement, so the time that the ministry through the deputy minister made that explanation,
yes.
there was a time lapse. And
Yes.
I'm saying that from the time that the vice president made the announcement to the time that the energy ministry decided to do the explanation, when did we decide that it was going to be a two-pronged approach of a transaction? One for gold, one for cash.
At the time that the vice president was giving his speech, the government intended that there was going to be a two-pronged approach to this matter. Just that probably maybe
you are making a supposition in your response.
I am telling you what the position of government is.
Because the vice president was clear.
Now you also want to know the timeline.
I want to know because the vice president was clear.
How does
Am
that
I wrong
matter?
in my questioning? Or maybe I didn't understand
Why
the vice
won't it
president.
matter to us?
How does that matter?
It matters to us.
Relax.
I am telling
the
you
question
that
is asking.
the vice president.
You speak for government.
Who is part
there
of
is
government?
a mess here. Clarify. You're asking us how does it concern us?
One part of the entire program.
Who?
The vice president. He gave us only one part.
Yes, he gave
A
a part
major
of the
policy
program.
announcement.
My God.
What is wrong with that?
Okay, so another one. Do you think that this transaction needs to come before Parliament, knowing that we already have a deregulated sector and knowing that we have BDCs who are playing instrumental roles? How do they feed into the policy? The notes that you're reading, how does that respond to this question?
You're also reading from, Roland, let's be fair to each other. You don't expect me to come and sit on TV3 and just be speaking from my... There's a government position that I need to do that. So if I have notes...
is it not the question I'm asking you?
No, please. I think you are being mischievous.
Oh, how?
No, relax.
When they nail you to the wall, then you guys always come out and say the person is being
Everybody on this panel is using notes. Some judges has an iPad.
I am writing.
It is writing. Not referring to notes.
Yes. I'm not.
You have a document before you.
Not.
Are you not referring to it?
I am not. Let your camera show.
Let me
rephrase my question. I'm saying, I'm
these
asking.
are handwritten notes.
I'm asking you.
These are handwritten notes. Not
don't try to put me in the corner. It's not fair.
You seem to be the other panel on the show. I mean, to be very sincere with you.
What do you mean by that?
You don't have answers to the questions you are being asked.
I'm not happy with your approach, Roland.
Okay.
So my question, probably maybe you should join some judge so that it becomes a 2 against 1.
Is it the question I'm asking that you don't like?
Because you don't have answers to the question.
I'm telling you, because your style of questioning is laced with mischief.
Oh, how? So Roland,
okay.
Roland,
can we go for a break now?
Roland,
can you answer the question before I go? No.
Sam, so that he will be happy.
Sam,
that the vote for oil deal is good. No, because what the gentleman is saying is that you must pander to government's misinformation.
No.
The fact that you're asking, they play the vice president's voice. The vice president doesn't state the point, and now you're blaming the whole vice president's voice.
The vice president.
You guys find fault with everybody apart from yourselves.
Approach.
Yes.
And which is the better approach?
Did he say, where did the vice president tell us that it was one approach? You are the one now doing post-facto rationalization. When did the vice president say it was one approach?
Can you imagine?
Even when they announced the 40,000 metric tons, did they tell us, if it wasn't our questioning, did you people admit, if it wasn't our questioning, did you admit that the 41,000 was paid for by cash? Did they not tell us that the first gold for oil transaction tranche of product was coming in? Did you tell us it was paid for cash?
And they have explained to you the policy. They have explained to you the policy.
Until I sat with Bobo on a show and asked Bobo before Bobo admitted to you the policy.
OPK. So my question is,
government shrouded in so much
inconsistency. At what point in time did we decide that we're going to have cash transaction attached to the gold to oil transaction?
I'm saying that there are two approaches to the
vice president didn't say that.
But why are you relying on a 1 minute tape of the vice president?
No, it was a whole...
It is unfair.
There's a whole video.
It's unfair.
Okay.
There's a whole
I've been unfair to the vice president.
The government...
You are saying I've been unfair to the vice president.
Through the Ministry of Energy has given you an elaborate program, a document to that effect. If you don't have it, I can forward it to you to have a look at it.
Is it this document? Let me...
But Roland, let me ask.
No, I want to give him the
was
document.
It 1 minute? The vice president's speech was it 1 minute, or the vice president had the platform?
Sam George.